What's up, y'all? This is Marcus Frazier from Teachable Tuesdays, here to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. Thank you for joining me today. Greatly appreciate it. Excuse me. If you could, please hit the like button, subscribe button, the notification button to stay up to date with all of my future Teachable Tuesdays content. And without further ado, this is going to be part 2 of the Real Re-Start Series. Last week, we talked about, the reason why hitting the restart button. I'm sorry, y'all. My bad. I'm still getting over a cold. Why hitting the restart button was a really good idea, or better, it is a good idea. And we talked about a little bit of the pros and cons of hitting the restart button. But this week, we're going to go into a little more detail. This will be the last week of the series. As I told you guys, this is a very short series because this really is just an expansion of a series that I did in January. And then next week, we'll be getting into a totally brand new series that I'm really excited about as well. So, as I mentioned, one of the pros of hitting the restart button is that you really get clarity on what's going on in your life. I kind of briefly mentioned this, but I'll go into more detail about it today. That when you hit the restart button and you gain more clarity, it gives you an opportunity to see a bigger picture. You get to see more of what's going on in your life. When you get so caught up in your work, family, friends, social life, it can be very difficult for you to try to figure out what's important versus what's not important. Even if you're a person who has his priorities or her priorities checked, sometimes it can get a little, mixed up, because even the things that you want to treat as a priority, you kind of end up putting to the side, and vice versa. The things that are not necessarily a priority, you put them at top because you have no sense of direction. So when you hit the restart button, it gives you a chance to go ahead and kind of map out, all right, this fits here, this fits here. This is a priority. This is not a priority. This will be good for me. This may be good for me later. This is not good for me at all. You know what I'm saying? It really gives you time to focus in on what's important versus what's not important. I'm thinking about, as I'm speaking to you guys right now, some things I need to kind of, do in terms of making certain things a priority versus, making some things not so much of a priority. You know what I'm saying? But you won't get that if you don't have clarity. You won't get clarity if you don't clear your conscience every now and again. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like I mentioned last week with a computer. You have a computer, you have so many tabs open, and it slows everything down. Same thing with your life. You have so many things going on, it slows everything down until you close some things out, and that gives you some clarity of, okay, all right, boom. That's why every time I go to work, what I do is, no matter how many tabs I had open on my personal work computer that day, I close all of them out. Why? Because I need to start over. Some of those tabs that I had open, maybe they were important, but maybe it's time to work on some new things. And as the day goes on, I build, and go from there, which is another point that I kind of want to bring up, a side point. I think it's important to hit the restart button every day in some form or fashion. Now, when I say hit the restart button, I ain't saying hit the restart button on everything. You know what I mean? No, you don't have to do that. But you have to treat every day like I just told you guys when you close out your tabs. So what that means is whatever happened yesterday is over. In fact, matter of fact, I got one even better for you. Thank God. I just thought about this. Close your tabs on your life currently before your day ends. That way you go into a brand new day, starting fresh. You ain't got to worry about what happened yesterday. Oh, this is old. No, you ain't got to worry about none of that. It's just what you're focused on for that day, right? Another pro of hitting the restart button that we mentioned last week was you get to see people for who they are. And I think it's important to see people for who they are because you don't need everybody in your life. There are some people that are detrimental to your life, and there are other individuals that you don't need at all. And when you hit that restart button, not only do you get clarity of what you're supposed to be doing, you get clarity of the people that are supposed to be in your circle. So it allows you to see, all right, this person's going to do me good. This person ain't no good. This person, it was fun while it lasted, but the season is up. And so on and so forth. And that can be just as important as the things that are going on in your life, because the people will also help project you to that next level. Because remember, in life, we need people. We can't do it on our own. Another pro that I didn't mention last week, but I'm going to expand on in terms of hitting the reset button, is it allows you to go on a different path that you never experienced before. A lot of times we do the same thing over and over again. It becomes mundane, and that's not fun. Life can get very boring. It can get very sad. It can get very depressing. But exploring different options within life will allow you to elevate to an even greater human being. Even if it's something minor as, okay, instead of me watching TV in the morning, and I know this may sound so small, but it's a big deal. But instead of me watching TV in the morning, I'm going to spend some quiet time. Do you know how much of an effect that making that simple change can do for your life? Or even something simple as, you know what, instead of me watching TV the last hour before I go to bed, I'm going to spend some time with God, and I'm going to just relax, decompress. Or let's say, because I know everybody that's watching this may not necessarily believe in God, you might just be like, I'm going to just decompress, maybe meditate. You know what I'm saying? Little changes like that make a huge difference when it comes to hitting the reset button, right? Now, let me talk about a few cons. The cons are very small, and the cons come into play if you're not going about hitting the reset button carefully. One of the cons of hitting the reset button is when you hit the reset button for the wrong reasons, okay? Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Marcus, what do you mean hitting the reset button for the wrong reasons? This, it can't be where you can go wrong when you hit the reset button, right? In most cases, no. There's nothing wrong. But there are a few cases where you could do more harm than hurt. Number one, hitting the reset button with people that probably should stay in your life, and you cut them off too quickly. Now, the reason why I say this is extremely important is because a lot of times you gotta, and I huffed because I can't tell you how many times I've done this and made the bad choice of doing this, but sometimes we are quick to cut people off that don't deserve to be cut off. We could have just had a simple conversation and cleared a lot of things up. But because we're so quick to move on from people, we just be like, snip, 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 easily. Be careful who you cut off in your life. Obviously, if that person is no good for you and they've proven themselves time and time again to be no good for you, go ahead and do what you got to do. But don't cut people off just because of a simple misunderstanding, an argument, something that could have been avoided just through a conversation. Because there are essential people that you need, and you can mess up your life by burning the wrong bridges. It is absolutely possible. So I think that's one of the cons of hitting the reset button. If you hit the reset button with the wrong people, and it also goes into hitting the reset button with the wrong opportunities. You might say, oh, I thought this opportunity was good for me. No, I'm going to try something else. In fact, that would be more so hitting the quit button instead of restart button, because restart button means you're starting over, which actually brings me to another con of hitting the restart button. Sometimes you don't hit the restart button. Sometimes you hit the quit button. You can't quit out on everything, okay, just because it doesn't seem like it's going your way during that time. Sometimes you got to stick it out and bear it through thick and thin, through thin and thick. You know what I'm saying? Because it's one of those things where it builds character. It allows you to be more of the person than you were yesterday. Think about it. Why do you think so many times you find yourselves in situations over and over again and you're like, dog, why am I still here? Sometimes it may be time to let it go. But sometimes you're there because you're there to grow. All right? And eventually you will grow out of it, but you don't want to leave prematurely. All right? And one more con, another small con of hitting the reset button is when you hit the reset button, but you have no sense of direction. And this is why I say this could be a con. Now, you're not going to have direction with every single little thing that goes on in your life, right? In fact, there are going to be some things that are going to be muddy, pretty cloudy. It can't be helped. But when you hit the reset button without a game plan, not all cases, but in a lot of cases, you can set yourself up for failure. You always want to have a plan. There will be moments in life where you have no plan and you just got to be like, you know what? Press and move on. But a lot of times, for example, if you're playing a video game and you hit the reset button, I know some of us, we would hit the reset button because we were pissed off, we rage quit, or we hit the reset button because we made a mistake. But during those times that we made a mistake, when we hit the reset button, what were we thinking? Okay, this didn't work out. I shouldn't have hit the enemy that way, or I shouldn't have took that turn, or I shouldn't have battled that trainer, or, fought against the boss that way, right? But you already in your mind have a game plan of, all right, this is how I'm going to change it up. We're going to switch it up, and we're going to go the roundabout way, and we're going to do better next time. You know what I'm saying? You have a plan in place. Even if it's a small plan, you still have something. If you hit the reset button going in most cases with no plan at all, it can be problematic. In fact, it can be almost just as bad as it was before. Because even when you made that mistake, even when you made that bad choice that caused you to be like, you know what, I got to hit the reset button, at least you went in with something. And sometimes it's better to go in with something, even if you end up being wrong, that's not going at all. Because at least if you're wrong, you can be like, all right, bet, I learned from it, right? But if you go with no plan at all, how do you know that you could have been right or wrong? It could have been a situation where you would have realized, whoa, all right, man, I'm doing good. And it could have been a situation where you also could have realized, dang, that didn't work out too well. But either way, it's a win-win situation because you're learning a lesson regardless. Either you're going the right way or you're going the wrong way, and it's time to adjust and then go the right way. So that's a little more detail about some of the pros and cons of hitting the reset button. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this series. Very, very short, but I really hope that helped. And the overall goal of this series was really to get you on track to brand new you, brand new individual. It is officially springtime here in the States. As of the recording of this video, the United States. I say states because I know some people might not necessarily be from the USA, and sometimes if you're across the globe, you refer to the USA as the states. But I'm hoping that this will get you back on track and, you know, kind of just have a fresh start to whatever's going on in your life. Maybe, you know, you're not going in the direction that you would like to go in right now, and that's perfectly fine. I feel like there's a lot of things I could definitely do better. As I'm even recording this video, I'm kind of already planning things in my mind, some new ways that I need to start over, some new things that I need to tighten up on, some things that I need to refresh and relax, relate, and release, as they say in a different world. You know what I'm saying? For those of you who understand that reference, or you're old enough to understand that reference. Even though that was slightly before my time, but I still got it. But yeah, that's about it for this video. So I thank you guys for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. Again, this is Marcus Frazier from Teachable Tuesdays, here to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. Remember, just as a heads up, 2 things. Number 1, 3 videos a week. So typically this will be the long video. Then you have the shorts. Then you have the reel. And next week we'll be starting the Skate Life series, where I'm going to be collaborating with some awesome skaters. And yeah, that should be a very fun series. I'm going to be doing something a little different that I typically don't do on Teachable Tuesday videos. I hope you guys enjoyed. Much love. And I'll see you next week, or really later this week. Peace.